Imagine running paid ads on Meta and having your calendar booked out with people who already have money. They're excited to show up and already want to buy before they even get on the phone with you. Instead of dealing with broke leads and sales reps complaining about lead quality every single day, and overall just having to fight for every dollar. And honestly, most offer owners, business owners, marketers dealing with these lead quality issues from their paid traffic, they see the data, they see the sales metrics come in from their paid, and they try to make changes in the complete wrong places. They think they just need to tweak their ad hook or rebuild their landing page. Don't get me wrong, sometimes that does help genuinely, but most of the time the problem is so much deeper than just a few tweaks in your copy. So I wanted to make this video for you because I legit have not seen anyone on the internet talk about the real reason you're struggling with lead quality from paid. And today I'm going to walk you through a live audit of an offer that was struggling with their lead quality, lead intent, and show rate from their meta ads. And I'll be showing you how to fix your lead quality from paid so that you can actually finally attract the right qualified buyer and start closing deals consistently from your paid ads. And I'm going to show you the two things you need to understand that allowed me to get my clients results like this in the first 30 days working together, running their paid traffic funnels for them. And those two things are, one, the psychology of your messaging to a qualified ICP, and two, making that messaging congruent across your entire funnel. Let's break down this live consulting call where literally we just went over this. We broke down exactly this, where my client went from a 15% show rate on cold with broke, unqualified leads, no one's happy, to a 100% show rate, high intent, qualified leads, and even 13.5K in a single day, just 2 weeks after implementing these changes. Let's get into it.
Are you out in Miami or California?
No, I was just in Miami for a couple of weeks. I'm back in LA now.
Cool.
I'm here. I live in LA full time. Actually, before we get into, I just had I funnel hacked you. I had a few points to go over on your again, I know you were testing both, but it's like these are two completely different types of people, right?
Yes.
Busy moms and professionals, right? So especially if you're going to run a paid webinar funnel, and maybe run a retargeting call funnel on the back end of that, your messaging needs to be congruent from first touch point all the way to close. And so the messaging for busy moms versus corporate professionals is going to be super different in my head. And so it's going to be hard to, I get in a call funnel, you could potentially go, incorporate both if you're really, really good. But in my head, it's going to be super hard to incorporate messaging for both of them and make it congruent throughout the entire funnel from ad to landing page to pre-webinar emails to actual webinar, because the webinar structure for busy moms and professionals is going to be completely different in my head as well.
Yes.
So I would definitely pick one of those. Again,
and kind of from zooming out, because it'd be interesting to hear your perspective. So the stay-at-home mums we've never got them from cold audience. These are typically people, so Nikki's been running this offer for a year now. I started working with her around 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. The stay-at-home mums you bought from her have probably been consuming her content for 8 months to a year. The husband even knows who she is, compared to the cold, where, like I said, we can get them in a week to 2 weeks. So just from those data straight away, would you say double down on the professionals? And if we get a stay-at-home mum organically, it's okay, great.
Yeah, well, in my head as well, if you're spending money, you want to target people with money.
Yes.
And the messaging for busy moms is going to the way I like to think about messaging is who I want to target. A lot of the time I'm thinking about in-market people versus just biz up.
What we're typically finding, so from the corporate ads, is kind of like what you said, two subsets of people already in sales, but it's not high ticket sales. It could be medical sales, real estate as an example. They're coming to us basically saying, hey, I know sales, so I should be good at this. Or the other subset would typically be pretty much anything, to be honest. It could be someone working at Trader Joe's all the way to someone being a former CEO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so for that, I'll go back to that point in 1 second, but for the mom point, right? Your messaging for the moms is going to there's probably, let's just break it down simply into two groups of moms, the broke moms and the moms who have a rich husband. A lot in my head, the moms who have a rich husband and we're going after people with money, if you're saying that the husband is getting on the call anyway, in my head, that rich mom with the rich husband, she doesn't want to fucking work, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to but that's going to attract the broke moms.
Yeah, it is interesting you said that, because I think the issue is I've limited it so down to Nikki.
I'm just thinking about it logically, right? Yeah. Yes, if you're going after busy moms, if that's your ICP, 100% you want to go after the wealthy busy moms, right? But in my head, the wealthy busy moms don't want to fucking work. They don't need to, right?
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, because even when we're being hyper specific, so an example of our hook is I'm looking for the stay-at-home mom who decided to quit her corporate job when she had a kid because she was 100% supported by her husband, but now she has the itch to get back to work. Even though that sounds qualifying, we're still having ladies who are texting us being like, I just have no money.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% get your thought process on that side of things. But the thing is, in my head, the
Yeah.
majority of people scrolling who are busy moms, they're not, if they have money, like
You're so right.
9 out of 10 aren't going to want to work, right? Yes, you're going to have that mom who like has that itch just because she's unfulfilled with what she's doing, but like that's a random case, right?
Yeah, that's better to come organically.
Yeah, 100%.
You make such a good point about. I've been too into the weeds about it.
Yeah, and I get like when the client tells you there's these two groups of people, it's like we almost want to like justify how we can attract a qualified audience because we need to target that group. At the end of the day, you don't need to target them if the data is telling you otherwise. And just thinking about logistically, that's my feedback for you as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, I think from that, it just makes so much more sense to target the corporate moms.
Yeah. And again, with the corporate moms, you might not even get, I always like to think about overflow. So with the ecom example, we have the 30K a month ecom store owners. That'll overflow from, the less qualified audience for, I guess if you're targeting female corporate professionals, like that'll target other females like as well who might associate themselves with that higher level, right? But I think that you're definitely better off going after corporate professionals. Furthermore, I think if you're going in market, exhaust your in market audience with paid and then go out of market. I see so many people going to just biz op. Do you get what I mean when I say biz op?
Yeah, but I don't quite understand what you mean with when you say in market, I assume you mean people who have a job.
So in market, I'm just thinking like whatever niche you're in, whether it's ecom, whether it's sales, whether it's fucking trading, like in market is people already doing it, right?
Yes.
In some way, shape, or form already doing it. So I see so many people going to out of market or like people who are problem aware, they know they need to make money, start a business, etc., and could be convinced on any business model. That's what I consider out of market. I see so many people going to out of market with paid when there's a huge in-market audience that they can tackle that quote unquote would be easier, right? So you're going to corporate professionals who might be more biz op, who might be more out of market, but in my head and what you're saying, it makes more sense to make all of your messaging around female corporate professionals who are in sales.
Yeah.
That's tech sales, corporate sales, whatever other sales, and they want to switch to remote sales.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And if you can make all of your messaging throughout first paid touch point all the way to the end of your webinar congruent with that, like in your webinar, you're throwing rocks at competitors, but it's just throwing rocks at other types of sales. Like if you can make all of that messaging congruent to one person and that person throughout the entire journey, like feels like this is for them, they're gonna have a much easier time than trying to go after, busy moms, professionals in sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been thinking way too broad.
And you said from 2 paid leads, those were in like people already doing corporate sales, or did I make that up?
They were in corporate, but to be honest, I can't remember exact. I need to look after this call if they were in sales. To be honest, likelihood is they probably did have something to do with sales because it's interesting. Even if we're saying calling out corporate mums, even if we're not saying corporate mums in sales, a lot just indirectly relate to that and say, hey, I'm in some sort of sales. The biggest one seems to be like biomedical sales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, any type of sales that's not remote or like they're working for like a huge company, I think that's green. And just out of curiosity, are you kind of adamant on the mom angle because she's a mom? Because I saw in her video she talks about spending time with her kids and stuff.
Yeah, we typically see that as the best. Like, I don't think she's close to a single person who's not a mom. So I definitely think the mom angle is probably their best. Unless it'd be interesting to see if you have another opinion on that.
I don't necessarily have an opinion on it because I don't know, but you could either go corporate moms in sales or just females in corporate sales professions, right?
Yeah. And then some will just connect with the fact that she's a mom.
Yeah. Because if you talk about the side of things where she gets to spend time with her kids, do this, like in my head, that'll connect with the moms, obviously, who are in the ICP, but that could also connect with, females who maybe don't have kids, but they want to spend time with their partner or their family or their friends.
So change the wording from spend time with your kids to spend time with your family.
I would for sure start with, if you're nailing it down to corporate sales females or like non-remote sales females, I mean, you can say kids, you can say family. I don't think that'll make a huge difference. But if you see there's one type of person coming into your funnel that's closing, then you can change and you see it's a mom or not a mom, like you can change it then. But that's just something to think about for sure.
Yeah, you basically just made it super logical to me that I was too attached to stay-at-home mom for no reason.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's look at the ads.
For sure.
So like just a minor thing, like I would still be overskilled, overworked, and broke, right? So you're saying that's what you are right now, because that like
that's what I was, and I know that's what you are right now, right? And so you're basically calling out to broke people.
Yeah. Do you think this is why this ad's bringing us the most qualified people then? That this one's doing the best and bringing decent people. And do you think it's due to the wording?
Yeah, I mean, you're just calling out to a highly motivated individual who's like done stuff already, which, you know, that makes sense compared to saying, you know I was broke like you are right now, for sure. With that said, though, like everything we talked about on the like the ICP side of, you know, potentially, again, you can test it out, of potentially going after just women in corporate sales, right? Someone already doing sales versus these ads are calling out to corporate women, not necessarily in sales, but more biz op, right? So like personally, I like to go in market first. But with that said, if like, for example, you were using this messaging and it was working, I'm not going to tell you to stop, right?
Yeah. It's only run for 4 days now, so we haven't signed anyone off the back of it yet.
Yeah. So that's just something for you to decide. You know, I gave you my opinion on the ICP you should go after in the messaging. Again, the webinar funnel, that's a whole nother thing to get into, but the messaging should be congruent for one ICP throughout the entire funnel, throughout the ads, the lander, the webinar class itself, right? And that's going to be very different if you're going after female corporate sales people versus biz op corporate people who are looking to get into some online business, right? Because that's what that is, that ad, the second. So yeah.
This is such obvious things, but until you're told it, it's not obvious. So would you say probably the 3 biggest levers, well, it's one lever, but 3 biggest actions to pull that lever for me is update the landing page, so it's very congruent. Secondly, I don't know where I learned this from. Maybe it's just because I've never run ads before and I was always just content agency, was naming out just a bunch of bad shit, like you're broke, all of this. I don't know where I've learned that from. Maybe it's just a bad YouTube video I watched, but it makes so much more sense being more positive in those ads to get that type of person. And then finally for that, call out mums, corporate women. We can run both to test, who are already in a sales job, but they're not getting, because it's actually funny you say that now I think about it. Our setter, she came from this group. The reason she quit her job to set for us, she was in sales, but she wasn't getting any, well, she was getting like a % commission. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That point case. Yeah, I would say for you, definitely test out that new messaging, fade the moms who fade the moms who are stay-at-home moms.
Yeah.
What are the other things? Pre-call video and like the copy on the confirmation page, change that up to build urgency around the call, around the appointment, why they should show up and why now is the time to get into remote sales. Yeah, there are a few other ones, but obviously I'll send you this link, run this through Claude.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make sure to, I just need to stop being lazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me share my screen now, 2 seconds, just to, and thank you so much for the feedback. Today we've done, let me do the quick maths in my head.
Yeah, let's get a recap before where you were after that first call, where you are now.
Okay, so today we've done 4 calls today so far, 100% show up, which is very good. And before that, last month, we had a 15% show up rate.
Bro.
Oh, I kind of lie. So when I say 15% show up rate, remember the problem I told you where people would book and cancel?
Yeah.
So the ones who didn't cancel, it was 70% show up, but like only 15% of the calls actually happened. So I'm counting that as 15% show up.
And so now there's a lot less cancels.
We haven't had a single cancel.
Amazing.
And the call quality is incredibly good. It's like today, so we've done 13,500 contracted, not cash collected, and then we've done 7K cash collected today.
Amazing, bro. Let's go.
So pretty good. So I'm super happy. And the nice thing is a lot of the offers now just running without me. So I think soon I'm gonna start acquiring a few more clients.
Dope. Would you say the big thing is just the messaging? You're seeing a big difference in the type of lead that's coming through?
Yeah, like he's saying as an example, like I'm looking for the unicorn woman, the one who's already done all the internal mindset work, like mid-body ad. And then the first hook is always like, I'm looking for the woman in corporate. Maybe you're doing sales, but you're just not being paid what you're worth. So yeah, it's super good. So thank you.
Of course, bro. That's good to hear.